This lesson is going to be on solving word problems with a system of two equations. The steps are, first we identify the unknowns, then we're going to write variables for the unknowns, preferably using letters that make sense. Once we have our variables, we can then use the information in the problem to write two equations. We'll be translating English, the English of the word problem, into algebra. And lastly, we solve the system using whatever techniques we know how to use. And then lastly, we check our answer, and it's important that when we check, we don't check it against the equations, because we might have written the equations wrong. When we check our final answer, we want to go back to the original word problem, and this will really make sure that we have the problem solved correctly. Now, before we actually solve these, there's actually a few prerequisites. You really need to know how to translate English into algebra, English expressions into algebra, and also how to solve systems of two equations. So let's take a look at an example. Our first example talks about calories in pie versus calories in ice cream. The number of calories in a piece of pie is 20 less than 3 times the number of calories in a scoop of ice cream. The pie and the ice cream together have 500 calories. How many calories are in each? And again, going back to our steps, first we identify the unknowns. Our unknowns are the number of calories in a piece of pie and the number of calories in a scoop of ice cream. All right, those are our two unknowns. Next, we write variables for our unknowns, step 2. Now, we really want to have these variables make sense. So the number of calories in a piece of pie, number of calories, we're not going to use C because C is in both. So how about we use P to represent pie calories? And then we can use, say, I to represent the ice cream calories. Right? So P and I are our two variables. Next, we use the information to write two equations. So once we have P and I, this is actually pretty straightforward. The number of calories in a piece of pie, we change that entire pink to the letter P. P is equals 20 less than, which means something minus 20, something minus 20, 20 less than 3 times the number of calories in a scoop of ice cream, which was I, 3I. So P equals 3I minus 20. Our next equation will be the pie and the ice cream together have 500 calories. When they say together in a problem like this, they really mean to add. Pie and ice cream, calories in pie plus calories in the ice cream together have 500 calories. And now the next thing is to solve this system. We're going to solve this fairly quickly so as not to waste too much time. You should already know how to do this. I'm going to use substitution. So I'm going to substitute in 3I minus 20, substitute that in for P, and then I combine like terms. 4I minus 20 equals 500. 4I equals 520. 4I equals 100. This would be 120. 4 divided into 120. I equals 130. Once I have I can then substitute it back in. If P plus I equals 500, then P would equal 370. So, ice cream has 130 calories, and pie has 370 calories. So I can circle my final answer. Now remember, we're not quite done until we check our answer. You always want to check your answer against the original word problem. Going back to the original word problem, the number of calories in a piece of pie is 20 less than number of calories in a piece of pie. So let's do our check. number of calories in a piece of pie, that's 370, is 20 less than 3 times the number of calories in a scoop of ice cream. Well, a scoop of ice cream is 130. 130 times 3 is 390. And we got to go 20 less. And this is true. 370 is 390 minus 20. How about the pie and the ice cream together have 500 calories? Well, if we add 130 and 370, we're going to get 500. So our answer does check out. We've got another example to show you in the second video.